Hey guys, welcome back. It has been around a month or so since I posted my last video. It was not intentional whatsoever, but life just kind of got in the way. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. We were trying to garden, and it wasn't very long after losing my grandma and stuff, so life just happened. But I'm back. I'm very tired. I spent last night for like an hour-ish trying to put together a blog post, which I didn't even get to finish it last night because I got too tired and the kids did not want to go to sleep. So that didn't even get posted like I wanted to. So that's another thing I gotta do this weekend. But the house is quiet right now. Husband is working and my bangs are like growing awkwardly, and I'm trying to like just be patient, let them grow out. So if I touch them a lot, it's literally because they keep falling, and I don't know why I thought I was a bang person. I should have known. I've tried it before. But anyways, today we're going to go through my books. But first of all, I just recently found that there's actually I don't know why I'm just not realizing this, but I was watching a YouTube video like 2 nights ago, and I found that this lady was talking about free, like little free libraries around her area, and that she didn't know if it was just like a Canada thing or if the US had them. But in Canada, they had a little app, you could download it, and it showed you all of the free little libraries. And I was like, I know, like there's one of the urgent cares around a couple of towns that actually has one, and I didn't know how they worked, but I thought it was cool. And then come to find out, so I went ahead and went to the website and then found out that I could download the app, and then I put in where I lived in the state, and I actually found that there was quite a bit of free libraries. So instead of going to the bookstore like I was going to and trying to trade or get credit so I could go get some books that I've actually been wanting to read, I decided that I am going to go ahead and go around to the local ones. And like, I have the furthest one, I think, is like almost an hour away, but there's like 50 of them in that area, and an hour sounds like a lot, but I absolutely love books. And if I can get rid of the ones that I have decided that I just don't like, or I'm not going to read, or I tried and did not finish, because I'm sorry, within the 3rd chapter, if I am not able to get into it, I'm not going to get into it. Like, I don't know what it is. I guess when I was younger, I wasn't so picky because reading was an escape from all the crazy in my childhood and my life. But as an adult and being able to actually just enjoy and not use it for escape, I am finding that I'm kind of picky now. I did not think that was possible, but honestly, I'm kind of picky. I've had so many books that I've picked up in this last week, or I feel like it's a lot of books, that I picked up and they just were not doing it. And I tried and I tried, and I got to chapter 9 in one of them, and I just was not doing it. And then I was like, you know what, I'm just going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go on my Goodreads account, and I found some people that were reading it, and I was not the only one that had a problem with the writing style. And then somebody pointed out that there's no plot to the story, and it's more of a coming of age. But there's nothing wrong with coming of age. I just don't think it's my style anymore. So yeah, I just went ahead, and at that point I was already chapter 9. I was on page 25 going on 26, and I just decided, you know what, I'm not going to torture myself. I'm not going to try to read it. Like the writing style and the way that they're being, like, I thought it was a mystery sort of thing, and it was not. So I just went ahead and said I'm just going to replace it. So without further chit-chatting, we're going to go through the ones that I'm getting rid of. So I did get this one through the one of my first videos. I said that I got some from the Neverland LLC on Etsy. Well, this was in one of the books, and I was excited because it sounded like a mystery, but then I read the inside, and it's like a 3 to 4 person like point of view and stories, and it's just like, I don't know, Lake of Dreams, and then it continues on to Blue Moon, which is another person, whiteout, and then it has a blizzard and somebody else. So there's 3 different like characters and plot twist or whatever, and honestly, it's just not something that I'm going to get to, and I don't even think I would enjoy, because I cannot get into books that don't have only like 1 to 2 main characters. Like if there's more than a couple of characters that the story's about, or point of views, I just can't get into it. So that's going to be donated. The next one, which I personally am not going to read it. Honestly, I opened at the middle of the book to see if it got any better, and quite frankly, like, I do like mystery, I like conspiracy theories, but I have a hard time with the different languages because it's harder. I have to research what the word means in English and stuff, and it's taken forever to actually get to the plot, and like, I don't know. It's just not my kind of thing. My husband might still read it, but as for me, I'm not finishing it. This one I did start. I tried reading, and it's She Ain't the One, which the inside of it talks about it being like it was. I'll just read a quick thing to you. And this is why I thought I could do it, and then I read it, and I just was not for me. After a rocky marriage, irresistibly seductive Jay Crawford was ready for a new woman and a new challenge. It doesn't take him long to find both in one fine package. Ashley Anderson, with a face and a body that scream sex, she's just what he's looking for. Hard to get, feisty, and freaky, but he'd never suspect just how freaky. When Jay approaches Ashley at the club, she almost thinks he's too nice to have to pay the price for the last man who mistreated her. Almost, but Jay's not so nice, and Ashley's every bit as sexy as he suspected. It's a discovery he'll soon regret, as what should have been a one-night stand extends into months of lovemaking that it's too hot to give up, and designed to burn him like never before, because Ashley has no intention of letting their relationship end ever. Now, Jay isn't over his head with a woman who will go to any lengths to possess him. Trouble is, Ashley's psycho behaviors turn him on like nothing else. Maybe they're both crazy, but after another passionate sex session that Jay vows will be their last, Ashley confesses to a past so shocking that Jay knows for sure that he's got to get out, and that she definitely ain't the one. The question is, can he escape in one piece? So, like, I feel like that kind of was deceiving because it made it sound better than it was to me. And like growing up, and whenever it came to reading and stuff, I didn't not finish a book. Like once I started it, I just got into books. I didn't have problems, and I enjoyed it a lot. Not so much now. Anyways, kiddo needed something, so I got into it, and honestly, it just wasn't my style. The way they both were representing themselves, and the way that they met, and the way like their first date meeting went, or was starting to, and he was just like talking to her like he'd known her forever, and like, woman, you know, like, don't even say nothing. And then she was just like attitude, and like, I just didn't like it. I didn't like their personalities to each other. I didn't like I honestly didn't like anything about this book, so it's just gonna go. There's not much to say about that. And then this one my husband bought, hasn't really picked up, and that's Upside Down. So unless he decides to actually keep it, because he was talking about not, then we are just going to replace it, because it's not a book that I would be interested in. I was hoping I would be, but after I read the inside, it's just not my thing. And some of these are like fantasy style things, which is something that I really don't like and I'm not into. So, which is weird because when I was younger, I read fantasy, like fairies and stuff like that. But I can't get into it now, and I don't know why. But I got some, which I didn't. This one was given to me a while ago, like when I was like halfway through my pregnancy with my youngest. And I was into reading because I was up late, couldn't sleep, and so I'd read. And not just like, it's a really pretty book, and like the pages are blue and stuff. And then you got some black ones, like you got pages like that. So it's like a really pretty book. And then like that's really pretty. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This is all really pretty. But the fact of the matter is, it's a fantasy one, and like, I just don't do fantasy. Sometimes I wish I did, because I feel like that would broaden my reading, like, but I'm just not, and I'm never gonna get into it. Never read it, so that one's going. This one, I did try to read, okay? I did. And it's just, it was taking forever to get good, and just like the description of stuff, I felt like there was too much being described versus just kind of letting the book and us like imagine it more. It was more like too descriptive for me to be able to use my imagination a lot, and that's one thing I like to do. I like to imagine stuff. I like to like put my own twist on it, you know? So that one is just a go, which I am going to wipe down. Like, all these are clean and everything, but I am still going to wipe down everything. Yeah, this is all hardcover. No special thing underneath here. But this was one of the books that I got with the bundle that I bought a month ago or so. I tried getting into it, but again, it's just not my style of book, my style of reading. But this also goes in this series, and it's the second rule of scoundrels. The one girl deserves a lover, but I read some of the reviews, and I just decided that this was not going to be me. I tried to get into it, but within the first couple of pages, I just knew that this one was not going to be for me, which made me sad because I was really excited to read it. But this one's just going to go. It's going to go. And this one's going to go because if you watch my previous videos, you'll know my first video that this was bought twice on accident from the thrift store. I got it from the thrift store. I already had one and didn't even realize it. And so I got two. And I paid more for the second one than I did the first. So that's kind of messed up. But yeah, I'm keeping the other one and getting rid of this one. So ain't nothing wrong with it. I just have double. Now, this one is just Joyce Meyer, Healing the Soul of a Woman. Now, my reason behind doing this is I actually really liked this book whenever I had gotten into it and was reading it. But I was going through like a really hard time in my life. And I was dealing with like assault, and just, there was a lot of not very good things going on in my life when I was reading this, and I was still dealing with the aftermath of like, all my trauma from my childhood and stuff like that. And I was trying to read that because it was a really good book at the time, and it was recommended to me. And so I bought it, and I was reading it, and it was good. And then I decided now, since I'm not in the thick of trauma and I'm not in the thick of abuse and all of that, that I was going to try to reread it. But when I was trying to read it again, it kind of just brought up all the stuff that I knew that I was feeling and like going through whenever I tried to read it the first time. And I really couldn't get into it because it really just put me back there. And I was just like, you know what, maybe some other time when I've had more time to like adjust and heal and really accept everything that's happened and more therapy, then I might be able to. But just some things, like, you just know that you can't get to it right at the moment, and this is one of them, sadly, because this is a really good book. And I like Joyce Meyer. I listen to her audiobooks and her podcast stuff, but I just cannot read this right now, which is really sad, and I don't know if I ever will be. So I'm going to let somebody else use it and get the help from it that they can get. Now, this one I did read fully, and it's by Sue Crofton. And come to find out, I was reading one of the very last. There's Y, and then there is E. And then, I didn't know that it was a series, or else I probably would have started at the very beginning. But there's several things that I didn't like about it. Is one, I just didn't feel like there was any actual point in most of the book, and it took forever to actually get into anything at all. Not to mention that this keeps going from like where they are in the book to like the past. She is a private investigator and everything else. But like halfway through, I already knew kind of who was behind stuff. At the very end of the book, I wasn't I was kind of shocked because I didn't expect the person that was involved to do it. But everybody else I kind of already knew that something was the matter. And I kind of could tell that some people were not like telling the truth and stuff like that. But anyways, this just was unreasonably long for really no reason. And I just honestly did not like it. Like, her writing style's not bad. It's just the sentencing and the work of the characters, and like more than like each person in the book and the like investigation or whatever, they all have their say, they all have their memories of like that day and things leading up to it. And I didn't like it. It was too complicated, and I feel like it shouldn't have been that complicated. So this one's going. I did read it though. I did get through it. But I just, not my style. This one. Now, I will say, like, this is gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie. I saw this and it made me want to keep it. Like, it's just so pretty. Like, I love that. And then the back of it actually sort of has a description. But it's just, it feels so good and so satisfying to hold. And it, like, even shows you what number of the book. But I don't know. I might still try to get into it. I'm not sure. But again, this is more of a fantasy one. And I don't know what it is about fantasy. It's just, I have a hard time getting into them. But I don't know. This one is may or may not. I haven't completely decided right now. But by the time I go, which I was kind of hoping tomorrow to go to the free libraries. So we'll see. But this one is still an iffy, but it's more leaning towards give it just simply because it is like the mythical stuff and like different universes or whatever, and I'm just not into that. I'm really not. Next one is Give Them Grace. I have had this for years. I'm not gonna lie, I've had this for years. I thrifted this, and I'm just never gonna get it. Like, I've heard the reviews and everything were really good and stuff, but I'm just not gonna get to it. So somebody else can have it. Erotic short novels came with my book that I got off of Etsy. To be honest with you, I'm just not gonna get to it. Like, I tried opening it, but it's definitely like older book, and I just, the way that some of these stories are, like, I flipped through it, a few of them, and I just was not interested, and I knew that it was just gonna be a waste of space. So this is going. Now, this one is the one that we were liars, okay? And I'm kind of glad that I did not go ahead and purchase the other book to this. We Are Liars, or Family Liars. Anyways, the other book to this. I was going to get some both so I could just read them. And I'm glad I didn't, because I got to chapter 9 in this, almost 10. And like, actually, I got to halfway done with chapter 9. But it was just like the very beginning of it just kind of sucked, to be honest with you. And then there's just way too many people, and the names are terrible. And I feel bad for saying that. But like, the names are like, who names their kid Gat? Like, Gatlin I can understand, but Gat I just could not get. And then just everybody's names, and then just like the storyline of how they got here. And then like, I thought that she actually got shot. Okay, legitimately got shot, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be a good book. Like, I thought this was more of a mystery thing, and it was not. It's kind of lame. But this was the one that everybody's was like, it's just like a growing up kind of book, like growing into whoever. I'm like, okay, so this is not for me. I'm sad because I was really anticipating this read, and I was really excited, and I got to chapter 9, almost 10, and I just decided, you know what, I'm not gonna get into this. Like, I'm already dreading this book, finishing it. So yeah, it's going. This one I didn't even pick up, because again, this is a fantasy one, and it's really just not up my alley. But I've heard some people have read this, and I've watched them like YouTube, and they say it's a pretty decent book. But again, they like fantasy, and I just can't get into it. So that's the sole reason this is leaving, because I know I'm not going to get to it. Like, I read the back of it, and I like even cheated and flipped through a couple pages, and I just knew, sadly, it was not going to be for me. So that's going. And then this Intense Pleasure, it's a short, well, I wouldn't say short, but it's like a smaller, like older mass market, I think it is. Again, I'm just not gonna read it. It's older style and just not something I am interested in reading. This one is poetry, and I love modern poetry. I like poetry in general, but the modern poetry I have been really, really liking. And so I was really upset when I read it and opened it, and just the setup of the writing and the poems and stuff just are not it. Like, it almost feels like in times that you are like reading, and then some poems are like that. And then some of them is spaced out like this for like no reason. So, no hate to the author or whatever, but it's just not it for me. So that's going. And then the last 4 that are going, again, this is like in mythical or whatever. So not keeping this one, not interested. So that's gonna go. So Much Closer is going to, just because again, it's just one of those kind of almost like quirky, dumb stories that from what I've seen. So it's a small town thing, but it just says on the front, follow your heart no matter where it takes you. And honestly, I was holding on to it because I thought that I would eventually read it, but I've had this for years now. I mean, I forgot about it, Susan Storage half the time that I did have it, but it's just not my thing. And then this one is Those Who Wait. It's another like Christian style writing book, but I'm just not really into those right now, so that's going. Whoops. And then Class, it's the Gossip Girl series, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not into the Gossip Girls, so that's a whole reason why it's going. I have never watched the Gossip Girls, and I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me. So those are the books that I'm getting rid of. I have a lot of books that I do have still, like not as many as I had before, obviously, but hopefully I can get some books from the Free Little Library to replace them. But that is my, I would say small one haul, but I kind of feel like it's actually quite a bit. But hopefully that means that I can just bring more to replace them, because reading is a good pastime and it helps with my anxiety, and like especially when I cannot sleep and I just don't feel good, or just because I want to read. But if you're watching this anytime between now and Mother's Day or Monday, please let me know what you are doing for Mother's Day, whether it's your mom or yourself or somebody you know that is a mother. I am planning on really not doing much. Me and my husband and family are going to go to church, and then we are going to go see my nanny's grave and bring some stuff, and then we're going to drop off to the gifts for his mom and his grandma, and then of course my kids are going to make something for my sister and mom that my brother's probably going to take to them tomorrow, because they're doing their own Mother's Day thing. And so I just told him he could take them. He's like, okay. So anyways, this isn't a super fancy or like super fun video, but it's a video. And I'm also really tired, so I honestly wasn't going to put a whole bunch of effort into this. I'm not going to lie, this mom is tired. But I'm going to probably get off of here and go work on my blog, because I did write a decent amount last night, but I was also really tired, so I just needed to go to sleep and rest my eyes. So while everybody's resting and taking a break right now, I'm going to go ahead and finish that blog post so I can get it done, so I can start getting that going, because I really want to get active in my blog, mainly just because it's like not necessarily book style the way I'm doing it. It's just kind of like an authentic, like raw things that I have a hard time explaining or whatever. But a lot of my stuff is going to be intertwined between my YouTube and my blog, because some of the things that I would write about or is just like a lot, and it's kind of hard to like understand, or it's like a lot to read. So I feel like talking about it and kind of like explaining it in person is going to be a little bit easier for you, like everybody that I share it with, versus reading it, because my life is a lot. But anyways, I hope that you like this video, and if not, that's okay too, because not every video is for you. But I hope everybody has a blessed weekend. I'm going to be doing my Bible study and try to make some bread, because I just feel like baking. But in the next few weeks, there's going to be a lot more stuff coming on. Not so much book related, but I'm going to be starting to grow my lavender. I'm going to be working on more of my baking, because there's some recipes that I want to try, and I kind of want to see about getting out of my comfort zone and not going by recipes all the time. So that should be interesting, because I am somebody who likes to go by the book, like rules, ingredients, everything. And so I'm trying to get myself comfortable with experimenting, especially with gluten-free, because I'm gluten-free. And sometimes I just don't find a recipe that actually works. So I'm like, why don't I just try making my own? We're going to try to do sourdough, and I'm going to try making English muffins, and just, we're going to try and have fun and be less pressured on what I've like been told and shown that I should do, and just grow into the homemaking that I feel like God wants me to do. So if that's what you're into, or you're starting your journey, along with kind of needing somebody to relate to, because I feel like I don't have a lot of people to relate to right now, or talk to a lot about the stage in life that I'm in, me and my husband, our family dynamic, and grief, and also not being super close with your birth family and stuff, on top of healing from pretty traumatic childhood, or even if your childhood was good but like you still are going through stuff now, then I encourage you to follow along, because I feel like it's time for me to put it out there, and not for sympathy, but honestly just so people don't, like, you guys don't feel alone if you are going through this. Because I know a lot of the time that I have been doing my therapy, and even when I was taking a break from therapy, I felt really alone. And I think right now I'm going through a phase in life that I would call God is bringing me closer to Him, because I don't have a lot of friends, and I'm not really doing a lot with other people, and I'm actually having to really rely on myself and my kids and my husband, and we're actually having to like grow even more in our relationship and closeness. So there are going to be some that I'm going to have him in, because I want his point of view and kind of see like where we came from to where we are now, because we have been through a lot ourselves together and then separate, and just like the different growing, like raising and everything is like a lot, but I really feel like it could be beneficial to everybody else. So if that's what you're into, I'm going to quit rambling and go to my blog. But thank you for taking the time to watch this. And again, if this seems like something that you're into, we go ahead, like or comment, and I will try to get back to you. I don't always get back. It might be a little bit, just because I got a lot going on most of the time. Life has been absolutely crazy right now. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I really hope that all your mamas get spoiled, because we deserve it. We deserve it every day. But I hope everybody does have a good Mother's Day, and I will see you on the next video, whenever that is. All right, bye.